Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Finally, trackies, the start list have been revealed for the men's 100 meters at the Jamaica Senior Championships, where athletes will be vying for one of only three spots to represent Jamaica at the Paris Olympic Games. And what is so impressive or important about this particular trials to me is that there's so many good men, and this is heralding the return of Jamaica to the pinnacle of sprinting. The men's 100 meters, the blue ribbon event. I believe that this is the year that Jamaica is definitely back and back to show the world that we never gone away. Yeah, we were just, resting for a bit to come back with a bang, right? So this is that season track is, and I'm telling you, there are gonna be some hot races because if I looked at the women's heats and the women aren't as popping as the men this season, as far as I'm concerned. And if the women's heats were fire, then you can just imagine what's going to happen with the men's heats. Now, I haven't taken a look at these heats just yet, so it's a blind reaction. So let's jump straight in with heat one. I just want to let you guys know, same thing with the female race. They take top three and then the next four fastest time. So keep that in mind as I'm going through the heats. In heat one, we have O'Dane McPherson, Javel Wright, Jelani Garden, Brian Lavelle, Johan Blake, Oblique Seville, Boaji and Krumi, and Jamal Miller. Wow. Right off the bat track is this is a fire lineup. Now, stepping apart from an Oblique Seville that you would say is that much better than the rest of the field, that will be easily qualified in this race, in my opinion. When you take a look at the next set of athletes trackies, this is where things get sticky because in this race you have the first junior athlete for Jamaica to dip below 10 seconds, 9.99 seconds, Buaji and Krumi in this race. Plus, you also have a Johan Blake, the second fastest man in history with his 9.69 seconds. However, has a 10.01 from last year that he brings over into this season. The seeded athlete actually in this race, interestingly, is Brian Lavelle with his 10.15, done earlier this season, as well as the collegiate Jelani Garden with his 10.05 seconds so far this season. As it relates to like O'Dane McPherson and a Javel Wright, sorry to say, but based on what I'm seeing in this heat, it's gonna be tough for them to progress. Maybe one of the non-automatic times, but even so, you're looking at a potential five people that could make it through from this heat alone. Now, as it relates to my top three trackies, I'm going, straight off the block with Oblique Seville. It's going to be interesting to see who takes those other two spots. I'm thinking, track is that this is going to be the year for the youngsters. Maybe Johan Blake can come in and surprise me. I am not sure if he's capable of doing that now because I've been watching him this season and he's hasn't really impressed so far. I mean, there's that 10.16 that he did, but hasn't necessarily shown us what a Johan Blake has pretty much been capable of his entire career. Let's put it that way. So when I take that into consideration and then I look at the youngsters coming up, I'm actually eyeing a Brian Level and a Brawaji and Krumi, over Johan Blake at this particular point. It might be crazy to say, but yeah, that's pretty much how top three may round out. And then there's Jelani Garden. I did say earlier on that I would love for these collegiates to, show me the consistency outside of the United States of America. Now I know these times came for Jelani Garden, at the NCAA championships. I really want to see Jelani Garden, do these times outside the US. Let's put it that way. Once I get confirmation that these times can be run, outside of the US, then I can put them in the conversation. But even with that said, I do have him running well in this race as well. So it's going to be interesting to see which three make it through. I'm going with Oblique Seville, Brian Lavelle, and Buwaji and Krumi. That's who I'm going with track is, but it's wild. This is a first heat and it's crazy. We may get some non-automatic qualifiers, from this particular heat. Remember, only four non-automatic qualifiers. Let's jump into heat two, where we have Shakur Williams, Mario Williams, Kishane Thompson is here, Nigel Ellis is also here, Akeem Blake, Santre Davison, O'Shane Bailey, and Shashin Dennis. Okay, wow. Oh my gosh. Right off the bat, Shashin Jennings for the first time is, what is it? The first time he's at a senior championships? I'm thinking so, maybe not though. But Shashin Dennis is here. Interesting. Wow. All right. Right off the bat, I'm gonna say Kishane Thompson clearly, Akeem Blake, and I'm gonna say Sandra Davison. Based on what I've been seeing so far this season, I'm gonna pick out those three athletes and say those are the three that make it through to the next round. I have Kishane winning, I have Akeem second, and I have Sandra third. But that being said, Assassin Dennis can also surprise. Assassin Dennis can also surprise in this race as well. It's going to be interesting to see who takes those automatic three spots. Again, we may get a non automatic qualifier from this race, but remember, it's only four non automatic times, so it's important to be in the top four. But yeah, these heats are stacked. Akishane and Akim meeting up in the heats. This is wild. Let's move on to Heat 3 now, where we have Rashid Foster, Rickon Graham, we have Taekwondo Tracy, we have Ramon Barneswell, we have Julian Fort, we have Rohan Watson, Jazeel Murphy, and Travis Williams. Oh my gosh. This heat is fire trackies. All right, so clearly Rohan Watson is the defending national champion from last season with his 9.91 seconds. Julian Fort also carries a 9.99 from last season as well. And also Taekwondo Chase is in the conversation for me with his 10.09. I believe this is a time also carries over from last season as well. Hmm. I think that those are my three. Those are my three in this particular race. As it relates to the order, I'm probably gonna say Julian Fort, wins. It's gonna be interesting to see what a Rohan Watson does, but here, what he came out of nowhere last year and did well. So I'm, keeping my fingers crossed that the same thing will happen here. Taekwondo Tracy, I think, is in a good space this season as well. I believe he's gone 10.15 so far this season. So I'm expecting to see him, live up to that expectation and run really well in this race as well. So those are my top three. For the others, I'm not necessarily seeing a non-automatic qualify or out of this particular race. But if there's one to come out, maybe we could potentially say a Ramon Barneswell or maybe even a Travis Williams. Maybe those particular athletes are in the conversation for a non-automatic placing. But track is, as I said, the races are hot. You could slip up and not make it through. You could literally slip up and not make it through. So these guys are going to have to run hard from the get go. And let's move on to the fourth and final heat. We have Damore Miller, Michael Sharp, Jelani Walker. We have Ryan Ford, Kadrian Golson, Michael Campbell, Andre Ewers, and Andre Edwards. Based on performances this season, all of these guys are literally stacked in the same positioning in terms of times. However, going in, times brought over from the season before for Ryan Ford, he's 9.95 done at the World Championships. Kadrian Golson also carries over his 9.94 from last season as well. Then there's a Michael Campbell, a Jelani Walker as well. Track is, I do not know how to split the difference in this race. Based on just how their seasons have been progressing, all these athletes look like they're in the same place, the same spot this season. I can't literally pinpoint any that has looked better than the other. Let's put it that way. So, with that being said, maybe a Jelani Walker, you could say potentially. But with that being said, I think this race is going to be very, very close. I'm potentially going to go with a Ryan Ford, also a Kadrian Golson, and probably a Michael Campbell slash Jelani Walker. Those are, that's four. That's literally four. But any three can, make it out of that. Do I potentially think there's going to be a non-automatic time out of this race? I'm not sure because Heat 1 is pretty stacked and also Heat 2. So it's going to be tough for a non-automatic time to come out of the fourth heat. But this is what we're working with. Fire, fire, fire races. I'm excited to see what will happen, and of course I'll be live later on today throughout the entire broadcast until the women's 100-meter heats and the men 100-meter heats concludes the day. And yeah, we'll see exactly who progresses. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, who do you think will make it through in each of these heats? Who are you looking forward to seeing? Most of all, right, Chuckies, let me know your thoughts. As I said, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.